Today I'm going to try and install the DCC sound decoder into my N-Gauge Loco. How hard can that be? Firstly, I just want to thank everyone who's been really supportive of the YouTube channel as it started up. It's something I've never done before and it's been interesting. I've learned a few things about filming what I do and also a few things about how YouTube works. People tell me that all the subscribing and liking and commenting and all that good stuff really helps with the algorithm. So I'm really grateful to those of you who've done those things. In a moment I'm going to get to and show you how I've gone about hardwiring a sound decoder in this second-hand locomotive. But before the video's over, I'll also be sharing with you the 2 tips that I learned during the process that had a quite extraordinary influence on making this second-hand locomotive run so much better. So today I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to install a DCC decoder in this loco for the first time. You might have seen a previous video where I installed a Digihat on this loco, and then you may have seen another one where I installed tender pickups to the tender. So that sorted all the wiring out, and I'm now in a good position to try and install the actual decoder. Let me just show you the loco. Here we go. It's Graham Farish Duchess. It's tendered. It's loco driven, and so there's room in the tender. So let me show you this. I'll just take the lid off the tender by pulling it off. There we go. Now normally this is empty, but I've done a bit of a rewiring job, like I said. If you haven't seen those videos, go and have a look, and I'll put some cards up for that. But if I have a look underneath, you can probably see here there's some wires. They're coloured, and that's not going to look very good, so I had to find a way of making them black so they don't stand out. But they're coloured for now, which will help me just work out what I'm doing. But there's 4 wires. If I find something to point with, I've got the red and the black, which are the pickups. So they come from the wheels here. And now there's also pickups in the tender, and so but they join up with the pickups in the tender as well. I'll show you in a minute. I've tested that. The chassis is also connected to the red, so in theory that red wire is unnecessary. I could use the metal chassis as a link, but I'm told on forums it's good practice to also just have the red wire in, so you're not worried about dodgy connections with that. And then there's the grey and the orange, and they go back to the motor that's in the loco. And one of the things that I've done by installing a Digihat is that separates electrically the chassis and the brush on the orange wire. So that's something else I need to test, is that the orange wire isn't connected to the chassis. And you can see here there's an empty tender, apart from these tabs. Now these come from the pickups I've installed on the tender, and so I've soldered. This is the red wire coming up through, and the black. I've soldered them onto the tabs since I did the tender video. So I'm now ready just to sort the DCC decoder out. Let me show you what I've got for a decoder. Just in here. This is Digitrax decoder. It's an SDXN136. It's a sound decoder. Comes with this tiny little speaker here, and there's a little capacitor just to keep the sound going if we go over a dead spot. And then that's the actual decoder, and it comes with an 8-pin plug, which is great, but my Loco doesn't come with an 8-pin plug, so I'm going to have to cut that off and wire it up. And in particular, I'm going to want the black, the red, the orange, and the grey connections from there. So we'll come to that. Now I think I'm going to be all right. I think I can just stick the decoder, on one side the Loco like that, and maybe that way around, and the speaker on the other, and obviously hide the wires somewhere. Now before I do that, I just need to do a few electrical tests just to make sure that everything's as I believe it should be. So the first thing is my orange, which is connected to one of the brushes. Turn it this way. Is the orange, which is connected to one of the brushes, is that connected to the red? The red comes in on this wire and goes to this tab. So I connect that, but it's not. And just to make sure I've not got confused, it's not connected to the black either. I get a reading. I connect it to the grey because obviously the motor is connected across the two brushes, and so that's the impedance of the motor. So that's good. That's as it should be. The next thing is, have I got a short across the red and the black across the tracks? So I can just test between the two tabs, and the answer is no. That's brilliant. And then the next thing is, are the front of the Loco and the tender pickups connected to each other? It should be. So if I try one side, there's a connection there, and then if I turn it over, try the other side, there's a connection there. So electrically, this is all prepared and ready to go. All I've got to do is make 4 connections to the DCC decoder and find a way of hiding it inside the box. So first thing to do, there's no reason not to do it, is just to chop the 8-pin plug off. There's an extra green wire here that's not connected. I believe that's for an extra set of lights or an extra function. But I won't be using that or any of the functions because I don't have any lights on this Loco. There we go. It's cut off. I won't be getting my money back on that one anymore. There we go. That'll work nicely. The bottom line is I don't need a lot of space in here. Get these things out of the way as well. So I've done some soldering now. All the wires are connected up. So although obviously I need to find a way of sticking it all in the back, I think what I want to do is just go and put it on the programming track, make sure that the decoder can be programmed, maybe even just see if the motor responds, whether I can get it to drive forwards or backwards a bit. I may see if it makes any sound, that'd be the other thing. Right, so it says Digitrax recommends using the direct mode for programming Digitrax decoders when using service mode on the programming track. No, I haven't got my programming track connected, so that's something I need to do. So start again. Programming. And I set it to the number on the loco. It's not a bad number, so I'm setting a 4-digit address here. So set that. Enter. Well, fleshed around a bit, and I think that's worked. Seems okay. If I put it on the main track, I can see if it moves. That's probably a good approach. It's making some noises, which is interesting. Use a sound decoder. See if I can take it for a drive. It's a bit disappointing, it's not moving. It's still making noises. It's not very loud, I've got to say. If I turn the throttle up, the motor doesn't actually turn. So I think I'm going to have to go and have a bit of a read and do some research to see what I can figure out. Okay, well I've just taken the lid off, to be honest. I just had a look inside. I can't see anything wrong, so I've put it back on the track. If I unmute the sound, I don't know if you can hear that, but it seems to be making some noises. But I can, there you go, I can turn the bell on and sound the horn, so that's good. Have another go at making it move. And the wheels are turning, although the loco is not moving, but that might be because it can't get any traction because it hasn't got any weight. So see if we can go forward. There we go. So it's definitely able to move. Just not quite sure what the problem was earlier. Maybe I caught something with the lid or something. So I'll try that again. I'll try and put the top back on and see how we go. Okay, I've put the lid back on the loco. Let's see if it's still willing to move or not. It's making startup noises. There you go. Makes various noises. These aren't. It doesn't have steam train noises because I haven't programmed the sound decoder yet. But we'll see. That's fine. It can make diesel train noises for now. Sounded a bit like it was trying to move. That looks better. It's a bit jerky. But it does certainly move. Yeah, I think the question is, why does it run so badly? Okay, but at least it does go though. All right, I think a bit more fiddling's needed. Okay, well it's not going to be pretty, but I'm just going to see if I can just shove it all in here basically. And see if I can somehow squeeze it in and make it fit. If I can, perhaps that'll be good enough. I know it's going to be a tight fit. I've worked that out already. But it should all be possible. Well, I think that demonstrates everything fits inside. Not sure that's the best way of doing it, but I can give it another go on the track. I'm disappointed about how badly it runs. I'm not sure why that is. Perhaps I just had these screws too tight. I think while I'm at it, I'm going to put the front wheels on. So then the whole thing's up together. So I think it's going to need a lot of tweaking to get it to run nicely. But I've got to say, I'm pretty pleased that it's all in there and that I have seen the motor turning over. So let's go and give it a go. So here I've got my Loco upside down in this is actually the box it comes in. I'm going to use as a cradle. And what this allows me to do is to run a few tests on it. So I've got my crocodile clips here attached to the track. And if I just attach these to the wheels of the tender, and you'll hear it starts to make some noises. So it's all powered up. Now the game here, I put the controller here like this. So you can see this number here is the speed step. The game here is to see at what speed step the wheels start turning. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 19, there we go, 21 I've got that on. Now that's obviously no good, but I think I can make a few adjustments and try and improve the situation. There we go, it stops. Now, in particular, I'm interested in these screws and how tightly I've done them. Now this one here at the back, that sort of holds on the truck here, is it called? Or the trolley? Anyway, that holds that on. It'll slightly bear down on this rear axle, but not much. There's this one at the front that holds the pony on, I think that's what that's called. And again, it might bear down on the front axle, but not much. But in particular, I'm interested in this one and this one. Now this one's difficult because it connects to a screw on the inside of the loco. So to loosen that off, I've really got to take the top off. But I can start by trying to undo this. So what I'll do is I'll turn it back on up to speed step 18 or so when it's not turning, and then just start adjusting that screw a bit. So let's give that a go. I turned it up to, there we go, 17, 18. And now, if I give this screw a turn, I'm going to get the best view there. Oh, and there we go, and it's running. And that was just a tiny loosening off. Let me see how low I can get it to start again. So we're down to 0. To 1, 3, 4, 5. I guess 7. It started to go just about. Let me loosen it off a bit more. There we go, that's running at 8. Try again. That's starting to move at 6. Now it should start to move at 1. If I set it on 1, loosen this off, can I get it to go at all? The answer is no. It's going very slightly. Perhaps if I loosen that one and the one at the front. Still on 1, it's not going. Well, that is better. I mean, that's running at number 3, which wouldn't be a bad result. It does run a little bit quicker at some bits of the cycle than others. See, it's still not great at these low speeds. It's not smooth. Okay, so that is turning up on 2. Just see if it can run it on 1. No, I think on speed step 1, oh, it is, maybe it gets going. Very slightly. I don't think that's going to go anywhere in a hurry. But that's certainly an improvement on starting at 20. I turned it up, say to 10. And that's running very nicely. I think I could live with that. But I do want it to run at very low speeds. I know that's difficult. But that's not a bad conclusion to come to, actually, that these screws need to be set to just the right torque. If anyone knows how you do those screws up to the correct torque, do please let me know in the comments, because I'd love to know how to do that right. I don't have a torque wrench, but I could always get one. Now another test I want to do is to set some of the configurable variables for the decoder. And there's a particular one that refers to back-EMF, which is the system that the decoder uses to know how fast the motor's turning and keep it at a constant speed. Now this can range from 0 to 15, and it's currently set for 5, and it was giving a slightly uneven speed at those low speed steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that value. If I turn it all the way up to 15, then we'll at least see if there's a difference. So if I go to programming mode, there we go, I'm going to program Locomotive 6233. I'll return this. I'm going to set variable 57. And if I set that to 15, enter. That says good. I think that means it's set it. So if I exit from there. So if I now try turning it up, let's see what happens. Oh wow. Right, well that's gosh. Well, that's very different. So that's speed step 1, and it's running a lot smoother. That makes a real difference. But do you see the way it jumped to start with? So I can do that again. Okay. Well, it starts a bit smoother now. Perhaps it learns how it needs to run. There's a couple of other CVs to do with back EMF. But I'll tell you actually, that's pretty smooth. I quite like that. I'm impressed. So that's sort of what I want, really. That's very nice. That's a constant speed at speed step 1. So I've got a couple more problems. The first is that the speed it's going at speed step 1 is a bit faster than I'd like it to. And when it gets up to about speed step 35, 40, I think it's pretty much running as fast as it will. So I need to make some sort of changes to the speed curve, and I know that you can do that by changing some of the settings, but I think that's going to take a bit of research until I can do that. The other problem I need to look at is these wires here. You see they go in by the wheels. They in fact go up above the hole that the wheels sort of sit in. And this orange one here in particular has got jammed on the side of this wheel, which is causing that tender wheel to run a bit stiff. The others are a lot smoother. So I think I need to find a new way of getting these wires into the tender, and I think it might involve drilling some holes just here somewhere. I think I'm going to wrap this video up there. I think those further refinements are going to need to be something that I do in the coming week, and perhaps I'll make another video about how I've done that.